Is this hashtag Daniel Jones propaganda? Am I getting gaslighted into thinking Danny Dimes was the best quarterback last year?
Thank you for tuning in to episode 39 of the Harvester Sports Podcast with your hosts. I'm Noah.
I'm Austin.
This episode's coming at you a little bit later. I was out of town getting the Navy experience with our Navy boy.
Yep, Noah got shipped off. Noah got shipped straight to boot camp.
But
were you scared that they were gonna be like, sign your name to get in here, and you just look at you straight up like you're in now?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, Jonah, in order to get on base, when I go by the checkpoint, do I have to fill out any paperwork or anything? He was like, no, you don't. I was like, okay, if I have to sign something, I need to read the fine print, because what if it straight up says you are enlisting in the United States Navy and you will serve 4 years.
When you got in there, were you like, it was a little too easy for me to walk in here? Like, was it?
Well, no, because I had a military ID.
Okay,
so
okay,
if you're, I don't know what the process. If you don't have an ID,
yeah, you were with these seamen.
Probably,
they knew.
Yeah, they knew the boy.
They said, Master Chief.
They said, you're with Jonah. Oh, okay. You're with Jonah. My bad. And then they give us like free stuff.
He walks by, they go Spartan, and they all kneel.
I was like, Jonah, I thought you were only in the Navy I thought you were only been in the Navy for like a year. Why is everybody like,
I didn't know you.
Well, why is everybody like saluting you and kneeling to you?
You're like walking in the mess hall, they're like dropping their plates, like, oh, it's Jonah. It's like, calm down, everybody.
But while I was down there, we went to a Padres game, and the Padres blew them out pretty bad, or pretty good, I suppose, is depending on
what side you're on.
But yeah, the Padres blew out the Rockies. 9-0 was the final score. But it's kind of wild because now, especially the way that this season has been going across baseball, whenever there's a team with like a huge lead, like they were the Padres were like taking their starting pitcher out, and the score was already like 5 or 6 or like 6-0, and that had me thinking, like, I was like, are the Rockies even gonna are they gonna bring in an actual pitcher, or is it because it was the first game of the series? Yeah. So I was like, are they just gonna put in a position pitcher, because that's what they've been doing a lot of across the MLB. So what are your thoughts on that when teams are already getting blown out so badly that they're like, all right, I just want to save some arms for like tomorrow's game or the night after. We're just gonna like send in a catcher or an outfielder and just let them get lit up.
Well, I think it makes sense because in like the NFL, there's so few games. Like every game, it's like even if you're down, you got to keep trying to battle, right? But in the NBA, in the MLB, there's so many games. So it's like, okay, this one's already out of our hands. Let's just move on to the next one. You know, let's just relax. Let's coast back a little bit. But if it's like an NFL game, it's like there's only 17 games this year. Like even if we're getting blown out, we gotta keep fighting. So I guess it makes sense for them to kind of relax some of their guys.
Yeah, from a strategic perspective, like it makes sense why managers do that.
Yeah.
But from a fan perspective, do you think they should be allowed to do that? Or because I was also thinking, it was different when I was at the game in person. I was like, I really hope they don't. Like, that's gonna suck if they bring in somebody, because I was like, I want to see like a good. I want to see teams try to compete.
And you want to see like the guys that you're like the stars of the team. Like you're like, I want to see like Shohei pitch. I want to see these guys pitch. I don't want to see them like get subbed out. But it's like they're already down. You know.
I mean, you do see teams come back from like 5, 6, 7 point, 7 run deficits sometimes, but like that was because I think right now the rule that they enforced in the Dodgers game when Dave Roberts tried to bring in a position player to pitch in the 9th, and they said, you're only down by 5 runs. You got to be down by 6 runs, or you're not allowed to do that. So So I guess now they're enforcing like there is some sort of like there's like a line, which is good that at least it's not just a complete chaos.
Well, that's like when that weird thing. Do you remember like a week or two ago when Derek Jeter was like, here's what I would do if I was the commissioner? Or like,
it was Alex Rodriguez.
And he put the stuff,
and they were all just, most of them were really dumb.
Oh yeah, and it was stuff like he was like, I want to limit the bullpen and stuff like that, so like guys would have to keep people in.
Yeah, there was the one that was like
limit the amount of moves.
You carry less pitchers on you.
Yeah,
and you're not able to move pitchers up from AAA to back and forth. I think was what it was.
A lot of them are really dumb. I get that. It's always the thing people are saying, like, the game baseball needs to be more, like, fun for, like, the newer fans. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. It's like baseball's so classic, It's, like, hard to try to stray away from some things.
I think also with, like, in today's game of the who did the Yankees play today? Oh, no, it was the Cubs. That the final score was 18-4. The Yankees blew them out. But at one point in the game, they were up by, like, a double-digit runs. And so the Cubs bring in a position player
to pitch,
and he throws a 35.1 mile per hour ball that wasn't even in the strike zone, by the way. It looked like it was a full foot above the strike zone, and he just launched it.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is like, I feel like that's what annoys me, is that sometimes when they bring in position players to pitch, then they're like, well, the unwritten rule, like, don't like rake off of him. It's like, no, whoever is in, if you're bringing somebody that sucks at throwing, like if you're bringing somebody in and they're throwing straight dookies down the middle, then you gotta expect.
Especially that one, because they said that was the slowest pitch to ever be hit for a home run. And if that's coming at me and I need to get my batting average up a little bit, I'm going yard.
Well, that's another reason where I think, like, bringing in position players to pitch kind of, like, it pads stats kind of weirdly.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have Rendon on the Angels. One time when a position player was pitching to him, he was like, all right, I'm just going to hit this one left-handed. And then he hit a dinger. So now his batting average when he's batting left-handed is 100% of the time he hits a home run. He's the greatest left-handed batter of all time.
Just never do it again. Yeah. Do you think, would you bunt to end someone's perfect game?
I mean, if I would do whatever the manager tells me. So if the manager tells me, then
so if you got that bunt sign, you're just
but
orders.
You're not. I don't think bunting to ruin a perfect game is very. It's very difficult to do. Yeah. Unless they're like unless you're left-handed batter and they've got
you're trying to time the shift
and they've got the shift on you. Mm-hmm. But other than that, like, bunt singles are. I feel like a bunt single is more difficult to get than a hit.
Yeah. It's still amazing.
So does get a hit.
When we play MLB The Show, and, like, I was still learning how, like, about, like, full, like, baseball and stuff, and you were like, watch this, guys, and you perfectly time the bunts and stuff when it's, like, left-handed. You're so clean with it. I don't know why, but
and they never do anything about it because unless you adjust the settings,
to turn the shift off,
then it automatically puts the shift on. So if you walk up with a left-handed batter that has any speed at all, then you can just bunt left. Every once in a while it backfires and I strike out trying to bunt, and that's a little awkward. But
it's the best. You're like, you guys want to get on base? And I'm like, oh shoot, dude. He's about to hit a bomb, and actually you're gonna go. I'm like, all right. But since we're on the topic of baseball, let's talk about the Angels. Because there's a few things Angel news going on, right? So back in 2019. Long Beach proposed the Angels to be moved, or for the Angels to move to Long Beach and get a Oceanside Stadium. The Angels rejected it then, and a couple days ago they proposed it again. They're like, we are still open to, like, having the team move here if they can't make a deal in Anaheim and extend their stay. Do you think that would be good for the Angels organization, or do you think it would be bad for the Angels organization to move out?
I think the Angels have one of the better stadiums in baseball.
I think so too.
And I think that it's very unlikely that they would.
Yeah, even though I think a team in Long Beach would be really sick, I do love the Angel Stadium.
No, a team in Long Beach would not be sick.
Long Beach Angels.
The one time when you accidentally drove us through Long Beach, that was the most time I've ever spent in Long Beach, and I was looking around.
You already wanted to get out?
Why did I feel like I was in, like, Wall-E? When there's just, like, cranes moving stuff everywhere. There's just boxes going all over the place.
That was the best, because I was trying to take them to Angel Stadium, and we were driving, and I was like, guys, is this stadium, I've never been, is it close to the ocean? And you're like, relatively. And I can see it.
I was like, I mean, it's in Orange County. It's like not.
It's like, everyone was trying to be like, I don't know, maybe I think so. I haven't been in a long time.
It's closer to the ocean than some places.
Yeah. But also, Angel news, so their 14-day losing streak ends, right? But their manager, Joe Maddon, before he got fired, shaved his head into a mohawk to get his team morale up, and they fired him that day. He couldn't even show his team the mohawk.
See, I wouldn't let that get out. Like, I would always wear a hat. And
you gotta buzz it after that.
And hopefully when he was getting fired, he was wearing a hat. Because imagine if, like,
it's so sad.
As they're looking him in the eyes, telling him that he's fired, he has a mohawk on, and he's just like
the best of me.
If you had to look into a man's eyes as he's shaved a mohawk into his head for the team and tell him he's fired.
This beautiful head of hair, and he's just sitting there, just he slowly reaches for that.
He's just crying.
Joe, I need to see you in my office. You're like,
He probably got called into the office. Was probably big smile on his face, walking in ready to like do a little reveal where like whips off his hat. Look what I did for the team, and then it just didn't go that way.
As soon as he gets all, he's like, honey, you gotta make a point of great clips right now. You gotta get the Clippers ready. This is not hitting. Okay, so that's it for MLB news. And you want to start talking about the NBA a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, this final series has been kind of weird.
Oh yeah,
because now it's tied up 2-2,
mm-hmm.
but also most of the games haven't been like necessarily that close.
Oh, yeah.
in a certain sense, where like, but I think at this point I think it'll go 7 games.
Oh yeah, it's just the way like when you watch it, it's like every team has blown a lead like this series. Every team has like had leads. All right, they're good, and I turn the TV back on. I'm like, never mind. The Celtics are back up, or the Warriors
mm-hmm.
are back up on top. It's going to be wild. I think I expected it to go like longer to 6 or 7, but be closer games. I didn't expect it to be like this team's winning by 20, the next team's winning by 20, the next team's winning by 20. Like,
yeah, how weird is
random.
that if it goes to like 7 games? So you're like, oh, that's really a really close series, but each individual game, for the most part, aren't like that close necessarily.
Yeah, the point differential is like is 20 points in every game in game
like,
7.
Like there's points during the games where they're really close, but then like the final score is
the final score is like 20 points every time.
But I was curious your thoughts on Draymond Green has come under a lot of criticism for his performance in the past 2 games. People are saying he's just out there getting cardio for 30 minutes, running up and down the court, missing shots, and then fouling out, which is a little rough. I mean, granted, I would say in Draymond's defense, his defense is his best skill set.
Yeah,
so his stats will always look underwhelming if you're looking at box scores.
I don't expect that man to drop 50.
That's why watching games is actually like
important,
a little more important than just like looking at the box score. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like saw Game 3 Draymond was getting lit up, getting torn apart on Twitter. So Game 4 is going on. They pull up the box score, see, oh, Draymond has how many points? Oh, I better take to Twitter and roast him again. But it's like, all right, maybe he's actually like having some sort of positive impact.
Yeah, maybe the man is just cooking a little bit. Is there? That's why I love like watching like the NFL, watching Red Zone. Like that gives you a good view. Like if you want to watch like every game and actually like know and be like, okay, so I've seen this guy actually play. And because it's hard, because a lot of fans who just go like when they're fighting on Twitter, it's like this guy does not watch this team play. He's just gonna be like, well, he has this many touchdowns, this many interceptions. I'm like, the game shows a lot more than what's going on.
Well, even that is like if you're only watching that, like watching players' highlights is. Yeah. I mean. You could just as easily you could look up like Draymond Green highlights, or you could look up Draymond Green lowlights. Oh, they both exist, and he has both.
One of my favorite videos to show people is someone made a compilation on YouTube, and it was like why Daniel Jones was the best quarterback in 2021. Like it's so easy.
You can make that for most anybody. Like if you find a cool song, find something with a dope find something
beat
off what's part 2 off of Life of Pablo by Kanye. When the beat drop comes, then you have like cool stuff happening, and then you're like, wow, why didn't he win MVP that year?
But I was like, wait a minute, why is this Daniel Jones video 3 minutes long still?
Like, why did it cut from that one play as he was he was in an all out sprint and he reached the 20-yard line?
Yeah, why are we showing the end zone?
Why didn't you show him running into the end zone on that one play? Almost makes you think he tripped and fell.
Yeah, I'm like, hang on, why is it like one play in this game, one play in this game, one play in this game? It's not the whole game. It's like great throw, skips to like 3 weeks later. I'm like, cool, dude. or
the
next worthy highlight.
And they have to crop out the score at the bottom every time.
Yeah, it's slightly just adjusted up. I'm like, that's so weird.
You're like, why did they have to crop out the score every time?
There's a black bar at the top. Can you just lower the screen again?
This looks it almost looks like it's against like second string corners too. Is it this wouldn't be garbage time, would it?
Yeah. Is this hashtag Daniel Jones propaganda? Am I getting gaslighted into thinking Danny Dimes was the best quarterback last year?
But back to the NBA Finals.
That's what we're talking about.
As a podcaster yourself.
Yeah.
And Draymond Green is a fellow podcaster. What do you? Because Draymond Green has his podcast, which is cool to get like kind of on one hand, it's cool to hear, like,
always cool to get the inside scoop.
As stuff is going on, one of the best players in the NBA is talking about it.
Uh-huh.
But also, the man is doing a podcast episode after every game of the finals series.
Yeah.
Like, kind of reacting, like, breaking it down. Do you think that's...
I almost think he's, like...
a good idea?
I don't think it's a good idea, but I almost, like, feel like, this, like, he's brave. Because he had bad games, and he still did it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like...
Because you can't do, like...
The
worst thing you can do
yeah.
is do it for, like, the first 2 games or something, and then the next 2 be like, oh, did he delete the podcast? Like, what's going on? Why isn't he posting any podcasts
you would
lately?
know. I'd start if I was your mom, I'd start tweeting stuff like, sorry guys, sick today. Like, right after the game I got sick. I can't do this right now. Sorry guys, recovering. But I don't know, like
I got a little cough in my throat. My voice doesn't sound good. Podcast.
Something's happening. But I always love the inside scooping, like seeing like behind the scenes of all this stuff and hearing their processes. But still, I feel like this is something to do. Maybe review your games after the finals are done, right? Like come back a week after the finals, be like, let's go through game 1 and talk about what happened. Let's go through game 2. You know, kind of like looking back at it. Don't do it right after. Emotions are probably really high the night after the game as well.
Well, it's kind
if you're a
of weird.
Teammate, are you pissed or no? Like, would you take offense to that or like anything? Would you be like, is he not focused right now? Is he focused on his podcast?
Potentially, but I also think you have to look at it and be like, that's Draymond. Like, that's a Draymond thing to do.
No, yeah.
Like, you wouldn't... Like, there's...
Steph Curry's not doing
like,
that.
most... to be honest, most of the great players that I can think of would not do... That's not something they would do.
No shot.
Like, could you imagine somebody with a mentality of, like, an MJ or a Kobe just being like... Oh, all right. So I'm gonna record a podcast halfway through.
Oh yeah.
Kobe's whole thing was the what's there to be happy about? Job's not finished, and he wouldn't be recording a podcast. But also Draymond, is the character to do that. So it's not like I think that makes it more understandable in a sense.
Yeah. If it was like some other players, I'd be like, this is not making sense. But it's Draymond. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. But also, low-key, I'm starting to believe that Kobe would do it now because I would imagine Kobe just putting a tape of him cooking people in the game, be like, cooked him here, worked him.
No, it wouldn't even be like a podcast of him talking. It'd just be his highlights and then him sitting there like this. just in the corner nodding.
Just him, like that would also be like...
He'd say, I don't need to talk. The tape speaks for itself.
Yeah, like that would be sick to have like a Hard Knocks thing, be like, can we just put a camera in the corner of the room while like Steph Curry watches film of that game and critiques himself? You know what I'm saying? Like just be a fly on the wall, and he's like, "Dang man."
Well, and now there's like reports that Celtics players have been like listening to. They've been listening to his podcast to try to get like an upper hand, which I think they said the Mavs did the same thing and lost the Warriors. So
I mean, if someone's being consistent about uploading, then good for them, man.
Well, the thing is, if you're realistically, do you think that does give you an upper hand if you're listening to his podcast?
I don't know.
Because it's like, at this, like, I get it. It is for sure, like, kind of weird that he's doing his own podcast. But it's customary for players to give post-game press conferences.
Yeah, and talk about
after
every
game.
What was the key to success?
So it's not necessarily that much different. It's actually probably, I would think it's less revealing because at least Draymond has more control over the narrative of where his own podcast goes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like he has 20 minutes to talk about what he wants to talk about versus whatever the reporters want to ask.
So he can try to control the narrative. Like he can try to jump in front of it.
He could be.
That's really quick because most shows are probably like NBA First Take are going to be the next day. If he's doing it like that night, perhaps he's jumping on it quick. He's like, we got to get this out. We got to get this out.
He could be playing like 4-dimensional chess also.
I think
where
so.
He's goes on there and he's like, I really think that looking back at that game, I think the reason it didn't go well is we gave Steph Curry like too many shots. Like I think we need to not get the ball to that guy. Like, we need to like, well, we should probably bench Steph next game. Like don't even I don't know. And so then the next day, the Celtics are like taking notes. They're like, oh, okay. So they're not going to give Steph the ball next game, and then Steph drops 60.
But it was like what you said. I'm like, what are they really learning? Because if everyone knows, he's like, he said we're going to pick and roll. We're going to like get Steph the ball. I'm like, okay, that's common sense. Like the Celtics should please. I hope they know that. Like that Steph's going to get the ball here. I was like, I don't know. I really hope Draymond's not going like deep in detail like this play is called this. If you hear this, this is about to come.
That's like, do you remember like how we've had DC8 do like film breakdowns, and I've seen comments in there where like of him like breaking down the video of like Derek and Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
And dudes were commenting, really great video, but I don't think we should be posting this online. What if the opponents are watching this and studying up? I'm like, I think they have like,
hey,
I think they're watching their own film.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I'm pretty sure they have 30 different angles that we don't have. They somehow have the helmet cam.
I think DC8 saying this is how Deshaun Jackson got open and why, and he's so fast isn't like, they're not like.
No, exactly. Like,
I think that maybe their defensive coordinator has been thinking similar things.
If the Eagles were like sitting and they like ran into a room, like the Harvester Sports Podcast just said that Deshaun Jackson is really fast. We got to be careful next time we play him. That's like when DC told the story of the Texans when I can't remember which McNair was, walked in the office. He was like, "Dad, this guy like they said on
Dad."
Yeah, my bad. I just leaked which McNair was. But one of them came in and was like, I just heard on the news that this guy is really good. We should look into him in the draft. And that's when Dad said he knew this organization wasn't going to hit. I was thinking, it was like Steph's having a really good finals, right? Do you think if they win, this is finally the time he's going to get a finals MVP?
People were starting to turn on the boy. But let me pull up his. So he's dropped 34, 29, 31, and 43, which I think people just set the bar so high for Steph.
Yeah.
To where it takes so much for people to be impressed by him anymore, which is really sad.
And it's almost so weird because like during the season, people like low-key forget about him. And then once like, of course, at the end of the season, he's back. Like he's in the star, like KD is all gone. It's like now they're holding him to the amazing standard again. It's like we haven't really talked about you all season, but now that you're in our spotlight, it's time to be like, you better be shooting 100% from three.
Mm-hmm.
It's what. So do you think might be the season he finally gets an MVP?
I mean, if the Warriors win it, then I can't think of who else is more deserving of Finals MVP.
I saw people on Twitter saying that Jason Tatum, his comparison should be Paul George because his ceiling is MVP caliber player and his floor is get this man off the court. Like when he's playing bad, it's get this man off the court. If he's playing good, this man's gonna be an MVP.
That's true, but isn't that the ceiling and the floor of every sports player in every sport?
Good.
Every athlete in every sport.
I saw that cook in your head. I was like, he's about to drop some heat. I'm gonna start crying.
Because I mean, that is facts where it's like you're like this man might show up, he might not show up tonight.
Yeah, I'm like this man's.
But I think I feel like you see that in that's just a much more noticeable thing in basketball than like in football, where it's like football there's more stuff going on where it's like, oh, the QB threw for lower percentage than he usually does.
Yeah, it's
more noticeable when somebody's shooting free throws for a
more noticeable when there's like 10 guys on the court at once and not 22.
It's more just like the statistics are very much more you.
Yeah,
like you're shooting 15% from three. That's you.
Yeah, that's just you, big dog.
but if you're throwing for 38% completion in a game, then it's like, all right, there could be some other factors. There could be some that does reflect on you, but there are other factors.
There could be some other things hinted in here. I'm like, oh, what? Like, let's dive into what really went wrong.
Mm-hmm. Sort of like what you were saying about people were saying Jason Tatum's like the CP, or you said CP3 or Paul George, right? Yeah. But what do you think about in general how in the NBA I feel like people rush to comparisons more than any other sport? I
think so too. Yeah, I think if I was a player, that would be like the stuff that would affect me the most. Like I think the high expectations would affect me a lot more than having low expectations. Because low, you can always live up to it. But if someone's like if you're a rookie coming in, like this guy is like LeBron James, I'm like, come on, dude, please, can I just be can I be Chris Middleton? Oh wait, Chris Middleton's really good. I don't know why I flamed him like that.
Well, I've sometimes thought about like, obviously you don't like this isn't true, but to some extent, I almost think it might be like less stressful or like more. It almost might be a better position to be in, to be somebody like an Alex Caruso. Yeah. Where they set the bar, the expectation for you right here. Uh-huh. You're consistently exceeding that to where it's like they view Alex Caruso as like, wow, he is a really, really great player.
Yeah, he's really
because you're viewing him in the perspective of like being that
exactly.
like sixth guy or whatever. Versus you've got like a Jason Tatum,
and you're holding him to like this
is a better player than Alex Caruso, but you're holding him to be the next Kobe.
All-star. Yeah, holding him to always. What's his fault for holding him to Kobe? He does
get a little bit of blame for it.
It's so wild.
that is true. The Jason Tatum thing is a little bit.
The Kobe stuff is getting a little weird.
That is one thing where there's some guys that I feel bad that they get certain kind of things. Like Devin Booker. I feel bad for like Devin Booker because he plays well, but then people were when he first started playing well, people were like, he's the next Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
it's like he's not. He's not going to live up to that.
Yeah, people lumped like the three. They were like Kyrie, Tatum, and Booker are like the closest we have to Kobe. I'm like, okay, let's all just breathe for a second. Like, I don't even think Kyrie plays that much like Kobe, but it's fine. It's whatever, I guess. So I'll just throw it out. The headline was A.J. Brown says he's the best wide receiver to ever play for the Titans. That headline, instantly I said, no shot. But then I started thinking, I was like, can I name a better wide receiver that's played for the Titans? And I had to Google it. I couldn't. Because if he's talking about like ever played for them, Randy Moss, Julio Jones have had better careers than he'll probably have. But he's talking about just like these are Titans for life. He might be right, low key.
I still don't think so. Just because how many years was he with the Titans?
He played for 3 seasons with the team. He had almost 3,000 yards and 24 touchdowns over 3 seasons. And then the other 2 wide receivers that people say are the best for the Titans, like Kevin Dyson, played 5 seasons, 58 games, 18 touchdowns, 2,300 yards, and then Derek Mason, 8 seasons, the Titans, 37 touchdowns, 6,000 yards.
So he told somebody, I was the Titans fan.
Yeah.
That he snapped on Twitter. He said, I was the best receiver to play for your franchise. Were his exact words.
Yeah, to play for your franchise.
So he's completely wrong.
Yeah, but let's be like lawyers. Let's dive into what he said exactly.
I was the best receiver to play for your franchise.
Yeah, because he could have worded it a lot better. But Randy Moss and Julio Jones have played for that franchise.
Also, you can't even if it is just not even to play for, even if you're just saying like the best Titans receiver based on what he did for the Titans, I still don't think you can say that because he, a great 3 seasons, yes, but still three seasons, less than 3,000 yards.
Yeah, exactly, less than 3 seasons.
You can't be the best receiver for a franchise if you played less than 3 seasons.
You don't even finish your rookie deal with the team that you're saying you're the best wide receiver to ever play for that team. That is wild. You know what I'm saying? And he, like, again, if he's like, I'm the best wide receiver to ever play, Randy Moss...
Then he's even more wrong.
No, he's even more wrong because Randy Moss and Julio Jones are way more, like, athletically gifted than he is. It's just wild, I think.
And he also didn't say to play for the Titans. He said to play for your franchise, meaning the Houston Oilers as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Meaning there are guys that have recorded, like, there's a guy with like 7,000-8,000 receiving yards.
He's not even their leading wide receiver. So I don't really know what he's coming from. He's probably just pissed, like, in the moment. You know what I'm saying? I'm like snapped at him.
I think it was in the context of like they were talking about him like being a villain. So now he's even more of a villain.
I'm not the villain. I'm just the best wide receiver to ever play for
the team.
Okay, thanks, villain.
I don't know what happened before, but the guy said, for the love of God, just stay off of social media. You're already a villain. No need to make it a stupid villain. And then he said, for the love of God, I was the best receiver to play for your franchise. Shut up and move on. You mad at the wrong person. So you can't say, I was the best receiver to play for your franchise. Now shut up and move on.
Yeah,
like that kind of brings up a.
That's like.
You can't just sneak one last little jab in there and have it be I'm the best receiver to play for the franchise.
Derrick Jones is the best quarterback, and now we're not talking about it anymore. Okay, thanks, man. That's great. More people should use that in debates.
Just end the conversation. GG.
I'm innocent, and we can't talk about it anymore. I don't know, man. Do you think if you are actually the greatest to ever do something, or you're the GOAT, you need to say it?
I don't think you need to, but I don't think it means you're not. Like I think there is a
some
point
people have
where
a problem with people saying like I'm the best.
I think there's also potentially something different with like. Do you think it's better to like reflecting on your career, be like I was the best, or is it better in the moment? Because I could understand the argument for both.
Yeah, I can understand the argument for both, because two who are considered like the GOATs of basketball. LeBron is very open, like I'm the best player to ever play. Kobe was very like he never said until the very end of his career, where like he was like forced to say it. Like he was like, if I have to rank him, here's my 3 rankings.
Yeah, that wasn't like him coming out saying I'm the
Yeah.
greatest. It was like, if I were to rank me, MJ.
Yeah, and LeBron's very
And I'm
open.
pretty sure MJ, I'm sure, has in some context referred to himself as the GOAT.
Yeah. And LeBron's always been like, you know, like the 3-1 comeback is what made me the greatest player of all time. So like everyone, like there's different ways to it.
I mean, I think that if you're always going around being like, I'm the greatest player of all time, I'm the greatest player of all time,
Yeah.
and like flexing, gloating or whatever, that's one thing, but it's a different thing to be. When I think of all the greatest basketball players of all time, it would be really contrary to their character and their like level of confidence they had. If somebody asked them, "Are you the greatest basketball player of all time?" and they were like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't really like to. I don't."
Yeah.
Like it would just be weird.
Exactly.
It would be inconsistent with who they are.
I think there's a difference between like them being confident and them being like overly like kind of like douchey or cocky. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a difference. Like if I ask if you are the greatest player of all time and you're like humble about it, then that makes me want to like you even more. But if you are the greatest and you're like, of course I'm the greatest, like I can smack it, I'm like, okay, you are, but like this makes it hard for me to root for you to be the greatest.
Yeah, like if LeBron just tomorrow hops on Twitter and it's in the middle of finals and is like, do not refer to me unless it's with 4 letters.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it's like
that'd be so clean. But like that's why it's hard. Like
I might, actually, if I was him, I might throw that in my retirement speech. It's in the words of one Kendrick Lamar, do not refer to me.
Like I'm a Nets fan and I've always been a Kevin Durant fan, but it's always hard to like root for him because he's so vocal, like on Twitter, like he'll just attack you. I'm like, it's like makes me love you, but it's like it's so hard. Dude, I'm like, just relax, man.
Yeah, that's another thing where it sort of feels like the Draymond thing where it's like that's just him.
No, yeah,
like that's KD's brand.
And KD is open
on Twitter
where he's like, I have burners still.
Yeah, he says I still got burners out there. I'm still
he knows the deal.
And also at this point, why does he have the stuff he says on his main page?
Yeah.
Imagine what the burners are saying.
No, my favorite is they catch him lacking sometimes because it's like someone will reply to a tweet and be like, this account was made like today. I'm like, oh, he got it. That's good. What do you think his email account names are that he has it? He's like, KD's the best at Yahoo.
Oh, this one said Kevin Durant is hands down the greatest player in the history of basketball. Let me check. Let me look into this. Okay, made today follows 2 accounts: Kevin Durant and KD. What are we?
Exactly. He's like,
Username Easy Money Sniper Fan.
This says been on Twitter since an hour ago.
This is a weird. This dude Devin Grant is always in the comment section backing him up.
Because I'm like, oh, this is really weird because the tweet that he replied to has 2 likes, and this guy made the account an hour ago. So someone for sure saw this and made a whole new account to just come to reply to this specific tweet. But yeah, I think there's a difference between being cocky and just being like, yeah, I'm the best Titans wide receiver of all time. And I'm like, okay, you can say if you are, but like this is very close to.
But then there's also some athletes where it definitely does cross the line and is cocky, and I love it. Like Conor McGregor.
Oh yeah, I'm like, okay.
Like I love that Conor
Your wife
McGregor
sent me
says
DMs.
like if Conor McGregor was like, oh, I don't know, there's a lot of like other great guys in my weight class. I'm not really. I'd be like, what
it's
are
like
we doing?
you said the whole episode. It's like that's just Draymond. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like this is him.
So at some point,
I want to see Kanye West get up on stage and be like, I'm one of the better rappers to have ever rapped. Like no.
Now that I think about it, there's probably like a threshold, like you can become one of those players, but you have to get through like you're being cocky, and then it gets to like, oh, you're just you. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like gonna be a little bit where I'm like, okay, stop saying that you're the GOAT all the time. But once you passed him, like that's just him, dude. He just says he's the GOAT always.
But the other side of it is you also have to, like that's the flip side of it is like in order for Kobe to become one of the greatest basketball players of all time, he had to first act like he was.
Yeah, exactly.
Like long before you have to act like you are, and then you like grow into that.
I just think it was.
That's like when we were watching the Genius, the Kanye documentary. The man hadn't even released his first studio album, and he's talking about being the greatest rapper of all time. It's like, all right. I mean, he ended up being right, but.
And if you're like, hey, film me right now.
Yeah, if you're saying, film me, this documentary is going to do numbies in 20 years.
Yeah, I'm like, you need to film me because I'm going to be the greatest. In 2 decades, you're going to remember me. I'm like, okay. So I have another thing I want to talk about in the NFL. Now, I'll throw on you real quick. Do you think
Word?
Yeah. Do you think that Madden wrongly or sometimes can like
Yes.
wrongly influence fans as determining like who's good in the NFL, who's better than who? Do you think it could lead people astray?
Not that's an interesting question. Not fans that watch games now.
That's what I'm saying. Because if there's guys who don't watch,
but there's
games,
a lot of people like high schoolers.
Yeah.
That they probably watch their own team.
Yeah.
So they know who's good on their own team.
They watch and they have an ultimate team.
But they're
Madden,
not.
And they're like, okay, this 99 Jalen Hurts is the greatest card of all time. Jalen Hurts has to be a top 3 quarterback in the league. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it leads them astray. I think like that.
Well, I wasn't Mutt is a whole different animal.
That's what I'm saying. Like, does that lead them astray?
I wasn't even thinking of Mutt. I was just
franchise
thinking
like base overalls like that.
Yeah, I was just thinking like base overalls. You've got some guys because they don't get every rating right. You have guys that have the wrong ratings, and it's like I think most like if you're a high schooler that watches football, but you probably only watch your own team on Sundays.
Yeah, you watch your
maybe
team.
A couple other ones, but you're not watching every team. Yeah. So you don't know a lot of these guys, but you play a lot of Madden. You're probably your perception is gonna be warped by the fact that this one player might not be that good in real life, but for whatever reason, they're an absolute cheese player in the game.
That's like every year in Madden, like the first thing we do in franchise is like, okay, who's signing John Ross? So it's like, dude, John Ross is like a dog. I'm like, dude, John Ross hasn't played a snap in 2 seasons. But like, I'm glad he's a 99 overall in your league because you just spam the
if it's like the way that you can run Madden, it's like, all right, this guy might be like the best short route runner in the entire NFL.
Exactly.
But he can't be that good because whenever I put him on a streak and it's press coverage, I put him on a streak and he still gets clamped. He can't be that great.
It was like this thing right here. Like I was gonna read this. This is what like Madden 23. This is like the elite fastest players in the game, right? So Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Anthony Schwartz for the Browns, McCole Hardman for the Chiefs. That alone, speed is what like matters in Madden. So that list is always gonna be like if a kid just goes in Madden, be like this dude cooks for me. Anthony Schwartz is one of the best wide receivers in the league. I'm like, okay.
What I think people get like for a lot of people, I think Madden is the like for the young up and coming generation.
Like Madden is like
Madden is an entry point into football fandom. Like that's how a lot of fans become like take it from being like, oh yeah, I mean I guess I'm a football fan to like they actually feel like they know the players in the NFL.
Exactly.
Because that's what like otherwise. In what world is a 16-year-old gonna know a single left guard in the NFL?
Oh yeah, no shot. Exactly.
Like let alone know who they want on their Mutt team, who's gonna on franchise or whatever.
Like that's why I think Madden is great, but like in a way, but like Madden can like teach you like different players. Like I like when we play franchise with all our friends, I like switching teams a while, and I can like that's how I learn guys a lot. I'm like, oh, I played with this guy in my franchise, or I drafted this guy. Like, I drafted this rookie. Now he's actually in the league. I can watch him. But like dudes like this, like it's so wild. Because I think you come into Madden and you're like, oh, this guy is so fast. This guy's so good. He has to be good in the league. And then you check like how he's been doing in the action NFL. You're like, oh, this guy like barely plays. Like what is going on? Why don't they utilize this man more? Those are the guys on Twitter who go like, John Ross needs to be utilized more. He is a beast.
Well, it's even like in MLB The Show, the Cody Bellinger card that they hit us with at the beginning of the year was like 90 overall. He's like one of the better cards in the game. Yeah, I'm like, wow, all right. He's hitting 175 in real life at that moment.
Yeah, that's like these games. I don't know if they realize it. I hope they realize it. They have a big influence in how, especially younger fans, see the actual league. You know, they have a big influence in like how fans see certain players. Like if I was the MLB and the NFL, I would be on the lookout for that. Or if I was teams, I'd be like, these guys are getting pushed up more. Like they just, like I bet it even affects jersey sales at some points.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I just think. So I think Madden influences fans for sure.
Do you think that Lamar is regarded by, like when I say football fans, I don't mean like older football. Yeah. I mean like really young, like high school, college age football
He's the
fans,
greatest wide receiver,
do you
quarterback
think
of
that
all time.
Lamar Jackson is regarded higher by them than people that are like don't play Madden because they're warped by how easy it is to
100%.
to use a great mobile quarterback?
Oh
in the
yeah,
game.
like to them, like to kids in the school who just play Madden, Lamar is probably the best quarterback of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like dude, like look at this. Like it makes it so easy to have Xbox. Like look at this game clip on my phone. Like I rolled out, I scrambled, I hurled a dude, then I bombed it. Like Lamar could do this in real life.
And Madden would almost be able to convince you that Sam Howell's not
Yeah,
not the GOAT.
See, they're trying to gaslight you into saying Sam Howell's not going to be good.
No, they're trying to hurt me by. Except that's whoever you downloaded the thing from.
So
is a Sam
really you'll
whoever
find
that
out,
is a Sam Howell hater.
Really, you'll find out Madden 23 if you use them. You'll be like, now I really see if Madden's trying to gaslight me.
No, they're definitely going to hit something disrespectful.
You need to be. I think you have to be a big NFL fan and a big NFL watcher for you even to start to realize Madden has this stuff wrong. Like I think for a while you'll be like, Madden is perfect. Like this, like the overalls and stuff is perfectly set in stone. This is how the guy should be.
Well, I think one of the dumbest, which I get why it is the way it is, but the ratings they have for quarterbacks are super inaccurate as far as second and third stringers go.
Yeah.
Because you've got your starting quarterback is like whatever number, their like throw accuracies in the 90s, their throw strength is in the 90s.
Yeah.
Then it gets to the second string guy.
Yeah.
And he may as well be a high school quarterback trying to throw it. I'm like, all right, this guy is still
like
an NFL quarterback. And some of those backups can sling it further. They can do certain things better than their starter.
We saw Nick Foles win a Super Bowl. You're telling me my quarterback can't come in and just complete a pass? Mm-hmm. Like as soon as your quarterback goes down to Madden and that backup comes out, you're going to see an accurate bullet pass 24/7 everywhere.
Because sometimes, like some of these backup quarterbacks are like 59 overall. There's not somebody on NFL roster that should be listed as a 59 overall.
I don't think so at all. I don't.
At any position, nobody that makes the 53-man roster should be a 59.
No,
overall.
if you need to make them 59s, instead of doing that, just boost everybody else up. You know, like a curve in high school. Just move that rest up.
The gap between what makes like the gap between the 30th best quarterback in the NFL versus the 45th best one in the NFL is probably not that big of a gap. It's just that it's a big enough gap to where it makes a difference. But in the event that the Chargers do end up selling their team, I'll put our Venmo in the description. We're trying to raise enough money to maybe we'll do a Kickstarter because that gives them their money back.
Exactly.
If we don't reach the amount we want, then you all get your money back. But if we get,
potentially we'll raise $7 billion.
If we raise whatever the price is to buy the Chargers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be real, guys. If we raise $7 billion, tax evasion, I'm gonna commit it. Like you guys ain't seen that.
Aren't there also like people saying that the Chargers are like bankrupt now? Isn't that a thing they're saying that like the move to LA bankrupted them?
Yeah, I was thinking like if he has to sell the team, all of us as NFL fans should come together.
Can it be like how the Packers are publicly owned?
Like I was gonna say, like we all need to come together and like make it happen, or make sure the next owner moves them back to San Diego. Like we got to make sure it's someone who is a big San Diego Chargers fan, and we send them back home.
That's true. Well, I mean, this last weekend I was in San Diego, and I'm pretty sure I saw more Chargers merch than I've seen in the past 6 months of us living in basically LA.
When you were in San Diego, were you like, this deserves an NFL team? When you were there, you're like, I can feel in the air. Like, they deserve it.
Yeah. In the event that the Chargers do put their team up for sale. Yeah. Or I guess in the event that the owner puts the Chargers up for sale.
If the NFL forces for them to.
I say that that what we need to do is start the Kickstarter campaign to raise money to buy it. All of us as football fans chip in, and then we buy it, but we make it publicly owned. It's like the fan-controlled football league, where as the owners, we let them every single time. Let's say our starting we have 2 quarterbacks that we're thinking about starting. Yeah. Twitter poll. Who should we start this week?
Throw it up.
Every single thing is an Instagram poll or a Twitter poll, and they get to decide what happens.
We're gonna change your name probably to like the something harvester wise, like the barrels.
the new team name is just gonna be the
mini David Carrs. It's something. It's gonna be good when we figure it out. We haven't run it through like our people yet, but they'll figure a new name and everything.
We just need to we need to talk to the legal department about the implications of this, and
exactly.
if Red Hogs is still copyrighted or
if
not.
Red Hogs is not copyrighted, I'm sorry guys, it's locked in already.
And we're relocating to either back to San Diego, Bakersfield, or Simi Valley.
I will 100% make Patrick Mahomes go to Bakersfield to play an NFL game. I mean, what if we change their name to what Madden has one of the relocation settings as in San Diego? One of them is the Shockwaves. I thought we'd do a thing now where we go over these. So we do like Twitter polls all the time on our Twitter, like let you guys decide random questions. So I thought we'd just go over them real quick, and you could say what your answer would be and if the majority shocked you. Okay.
It's just
the boys.
Is water wet?
Yeah, it's one of
Kanye's greatest album.
They're not sports related at all.
How many holes in a straw?
Yeah,
that type of stuff.
The first one we've talked about a lot, so we just go over it quickly. Was would you rather game-winning pass in the Super Bowl, buzzer beater Game 7 for the NBA, or walk-off home run Game 7 World Series? So first off, yours would be obviously
the home run.
Yeah, the home run World Series. That's what
I saw.
Me too.
One sort of similar, but I was wondering, would you rather hit the home run, like if it was bottom of the ninth, or would you rather it be flipped around the other way to where you're going against a team, they hit a home run, but you rob the home run to save the World Series?
I might rob it. That'd be so sick.
Yeah, that one's really tough for me.
If it's to end the inning, like it's like, oh, that'd be so clean.
Like if that's like straight up, if this ball gets out,
they win.
It's a 2-run bomb. They win. If it doesn't get out,
it's 3 outs. They're gone.
Then like if you catch it, then that's the 3rd out.
And you go up there and you snag that thing.
Yeah, if you do like a Bo Jackson wall climb and just that might be the cooler one.
That might be the cool one for sure.
It's just the rounding the bases after hitting a home run would be really cool.
Like the fist pump. Yeah, I'd be doing
getting to run around.
But the percentages, it was. Do you want me to just tell you them, or do you want me to tell you the 3 percentages and you try to tell me which ones are which?
I'm definitely not going to guess.
Okay, so it was. It was weird to me. The game-winning pass in the Super Bowl it had 49%. A lot of football fans on the thing.
Yeah, I think these statistics are
they're going to be pushed. Yeah, and then buzzer beater Game 7 was 17%. Walk-off home run was 34%. So it was close. It was pretty good. The NBA one is definitely. I think the NBA one should be second. I'm not gonna lie. And then the next one was, do you think you could get 1 yard at running back in the NFL? And your answer would be, there was yes, no, I could get more.
Well, what is the? I feel like there needs to be like in 1 attempt or in 10 attempts. What am I working with here?
I think it was just in a game. Could you get we could say in one play. We'll say for right now. We say in one play. Could you get a yard at running back?
Well, it depends on the play. Sometimes I'm getting a yard. Sometimes I'm not. So I don't know.
Everyone's 55% said yes, absolutely. 35% said no chance. 10% said I could get over a yard. More people doubting themselves than I thought, low key. Like 35% said you couldn't get a yard. Y'all need to be proud of yourself, boys. You could be out there.
No, I fully believe that. Here's the deal.
Okay, break it down.
I think that I could get a yard. I think, what was it, 35%?
35% said they couldn't.
I believe that 35% of our followers could not get it, at least. I'm coming for our followers. I think they're not built like me.
And then the final one, which was the biggest difference.
I just caught myself sitting crisscross applesauce.
I know, I was all right. And then the final one was, if you were Major League Baseball, would you let these guys in the Hall of Fame? Guys like Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Jose Canseco, 77% said yes.
So I was actually at the Baseball Hall of Fame this last year. And it was interesting because I actually like how they have it right now, to where it's not like, I mean, obviously they're not in the Hall of Fame officially, which is probably the biggest part. Mm-hmm. But if you actually go to the Hall of Fame and walk through it, they're not in the actual, like, they don't have a thing on the wall. But there is a whole exhibit that you walk through that's about cool. The steroid era and about, cool. like, and they've got, like, polls and, like, they raise the question, like, do you think we should let these guys in? Like, it's not not like they leave it unaddressed. So they're not in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And they don't have a plaque on the wall, but throughout the rest of it, where it's just like the sort of like museum part of it,
they're mentioned.
They talk about them as much as they talk about anybody else. Like they'll talk about Pete Rose is mentioned throughout all of it, and he's banned for betting.
So that's good, because I was worried that like they just
like
would,
it's not
hide these guys away and be like,
it's
these
not
guys
like
never
it's not like
existed.
they just erase that from history.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. But that's what I was worried about. They'd be like, these guys never existed. This never happened. Like, we got to hide these guys.
So I think I like how it is when you go to the action. I don't know. The way it is when you actually go to the MLB Hall of Fame, I like it, or with the Baseball Hall of Fame. But once again, that's if you actually go there and walk through it, which most people, it's more about the recognition of are you or are you not in the Hall of Fame, which they're not.
Yeah, there's no doubt that these guys like contributed a lot to baseball, but still, like, if the rules are you can't do this, like, it's going to be hard for them to allow guys that in their time broke the rules of the game. You know, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, but do you think they should let them in or no?
Like, I think so, but I think they contributed so much to the game of baseball. I think they were great. There's always that argument, which I don't like saying. It's like they still had to hit the ball. You know, I see that one a lot. Like, they still had to hit it. And then even I saw, I brought up to you, Mark McGwire said that he was facing juiced pitchers. But you don't think that's the case either.
Well, no, I don't necessarily think that's not the case. The pitchers could be juicing.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I think that's a stupid argument.
Yeah.
To be like, the pitchers were juicing too.
Yeah, I think he was just mad because he's like, it's all like always argue like towards me. Like, I'm always getting all the flame. Like, push it out a little more. Like, other guys were doing this too.
I don't know the science behind it, but I would expect that the effect of steroids is stronger on hitting than on throwing a curveball.
Exactly. Like what I said on Twitter, I said the All-Star Week should have a game where steroids are allowed, or like a home run derby where it's only guys who have done steroids, and we see how far they can hit the ball.
What would they do the rest of the year?
No, I'm saying it's just random dudes that have done steroids can come.
Yeah, what do they do the rest of the year?
They just do their steroid. What do dudes with steroids do? They just live life, I guess. Graze in the fields.
But somebody that's not in the MLB but is on steroids is going to do worse in the home run derby than somebody that is natty and
DC8 had a controversial opinion. He said Mark McGwire, like Barry Bonds, and all these guys should get together and form a league where steroids is allowed.
But I mean, yeah, if they want to. But what do you? Yeah, I think the argument of like, well, they still had to hit the ball.
Yeah.
I think regardless of whether you think they should or shouldn't be let in the Hall of Fame, to me that's a dumb argument in the sense of, like, yeah, obviously, like the argument of like, well, Barry Bonds still would have been one of the best baseball players of all time without the steroids. Absolutely, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not a question of did he have the talent to make it to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's should his decisions disqualify him from making the Hall of Fame.
And like because all these guys like
it's the same of like the Tom Brady deflate gate.
Yeah,
or not,
exactly.
The whole Patriots deflate gate where people were like, you really think that the deflated balls made them win those games? Like, no, they were going to win those games anyways. But the fact of the matter is, if they technically did cheat, then
and the MLB does have to do this like overarching like blanket kind of like punishment. But a lot of these guys have very different circumstances. Like Mark McGwire is very straight up there. He's like, I was doing this to like hit bombs, and guys like Sammy Sosa still say they didn't, or other guys say that they, like Barry Bonds says he did like a little bit maybe to like he's like testing it out. They just have to blanket punish everybody.
Yeah, some people be capping.
Yeah, no, they're he's like I did it just a little. Mark McGwire's like I did that thing, bro. And just after I was like looking at, I was like watching highlights. It's like this man really just hit this ball 500 feet, like 550, dude.
What do you think should be punished more? Is people like that did steroids, or somebody like Pete Rose didn't do steroids, has the most hits out of anybody in baseball, but he's out of the Hall of Fame because he was betting?
I think, controversially, betting should be more punished. Because at least with the steroids, it's like, I'm affecting, I don't know, maybe. Because it's like, I was going to say, the steroids are more, I'm affecting my way, I'm going to win this game. Like, the way is always, I'm going to win, because I'm, like, boosting myself. I guess if you're betting, you could go the other way and make your team lose, you know what I'm saying? Or try to affect it the opposite way. But I guess if you cheat, you are still hurting your team if you get caught.
Yeah, well, and then you've got other guys like, this past year I went to Shoeless Joe Jackson's house. You
didn't ask him.
In South Carolina, where he grew up, I guess. But
I heard he was only shoeless like once. Is this true?
He didn't just purposefully. He didn't just show up to games and be like, I think there's a tactical advantage to one running the bases barefoot. That's not what happened. But he's kept out of the Hall of Fame for being implicated in the whole Chicago Black Sox thing where they threw the World Series, even
Yeah.
though according to the people at his house,
Yeah.
his museum, that he didn't
Yeah.
actually throw the games himself. But there's also, it's just interesting when you've
It's
got
hard.
guys that are really great players but can't be in the
It
Hall of
affects
Fame.
like the whole like franchise overall. That's like they said, if you gave a gorilla a real workout routine, imagine how much he could bench press.
Do you think that if a gorilla works out, if you get a gorilla on like a push-pull leg split, does it get more jacked, or are they just naturally already at like peak physicality?
I feel like they're just average. I think if you put them on a workout routine, they would get stronger. I saw some really weird...
Because there is discrepancy. Like some definitely are stronger than others.
I saw some really weird TikTok that said this gorilla was given like medication. I was like, what if you're the NFL commissioner? This gorilla was given medication. It's now smarter. It now wants to learn the game of football. And it trains and it plays football and it practices and it works its way, and the Raiders want to sign him. Would you allow the Raiders to sign the gorilla to play left end?
No, because I've told you about that one nightmare that I had where I had to repopulate the world with a gorilla. And now I'm like, really, I don't like the idea of conscious apes. Like the whole if I watch
speak and everything.
If I watch Planet of the Apes, it might
bring back
flashback to the nightmare of me repopulating the world with an ape.
It was the most weird. It was like this gorilla now trains. It's perfected the end, like bull rush. It's like, would you allow him to sign with the Raiders? I was like, I have no clue.
It's like Chewbacca to straight rip your arms off.
But she even made a good point. The girl was making the TikTok. She was like, the gorilla would probably be susceptible to counters and stuff. I was like, oh, so you can trick him.
He might get there quick enough that wouldn't matter.
That's true. Like he just might get the quarterback.
Yeah, like is the flea flicker?
That's gonna hook the gorilla. He might not understand.
The double reverse is.
Oh, you might not understand, and like the ball snapped, and then like he screams, and the gorilla has the dude's arms in his hands. Like, okay.
Or like when you were little and playing flag football, did you ever hit the Statue of Liberty on him?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where you act like you're throwing the ball and then you go, handing off behind the back.
That's good.
that gorilla would have no idea what was going on.
Oh yeah, no shot. I'd let him sign with the Raiders. I'd put him in.
If it wasn't
he could play nose.
If he wasn't replacing Chandler or Max,
yeah,
then he could find a spot on the roster.
But what if he learned how to throw the ball? He's replacing Derek.
Imagine
trying to sack him.
You'd shrug off defenders. Just truck them.
So if you guys go on the Twitter polls and you put your stuff, maybe next time I'll take a few of your tweets and I'll put it down there. I'll be like, Joey1462 said blah 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 blah. I saw some dudes had some funny stuff. They're like a dude like made his perfect offensive line and he was like, then I can get a yard.
Oh, then it has to be that way. Yeah, if it's like the greatest line of all time.
Yeah,
then over 35% of our followers are getting a yard. Please subscribe.
Yes,
or I'm gonna drive back down to San Diego
and enlist,
and say, Jonah, what's a guy gotta do to get involved in this whole Navy ordeal you got going on?
You know what? In the comments below, I'm gonna.
Are y'all hiring around here?
Yeah, in the comments down below, I'm gonna put the stuff to enlist in the Navy. If y'all want to, you can hop in.
That's like when
the Navy better give us a cut if we get our subscribers.
No, you get commission.
Yeah, if we get like all of our boys to go into the Navy, we better get a cut at least.
Excuse me, are y'all hiring? It's like that.
Just go tell them the Harvester sent you. You'll get a good job.
Do you remember when they were? Xbox was doing a thing where you could enter a giveaway to have a shot at winning an Xbox controller, like a fancy one, but then they were suing them because it turned out that when you fill out the thing, you're actually Loki enlisting in the army.
Yeah. Well, that's all today, folks. Was that good?
You want to play Skylanders?
I really do.